Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet SkyFF, the world where everything that revolves around £50,000. My name's Fish.
And my name is James.
Had a nice Christmas, James. Got that
All
old
right, thank
turkey in you and that chicken in
a
you and that.
little bit, not a lot. I mean, more just crisp chocolate, like crap. Like it's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
easier to list the things I didn't eat in the last 2 days, but I mean that's not much different to my normal life anyway, so it doesn't matter that much.
Just any good presents?
For Harry, yeah, loads.
Nothing for you.
What about you, boss? Anything good?
Yeah, I got a wicked present. To be fair, one
Go
wicked
on.
present, which you won't. I don't know. Yeah, you don't watch the US Office. Do you know the US Office TV
Of
show with
course I
Michael
do.
Scott and Dwight Schrute and all that shit? I got the Lego set of the US Office, and I've been looking at it for ages, like probably 2 years. But it's one of those things that I would never bother buying for myself because it's just not that. But I've always said, like, one day I want to get the US Office Lego set, put it, like, make it, put it in a case, and have it in my office. I just love that TV show. And my wife managed to find it on Black Friday or something, and pulled out the stops, mate. So that was probably my best present. It's probably the best present I've had in about 2 or 3 years because I'm one of them people that if I want it, I'll just get it.
How
Whereas
old are
something like
you?
that, 43 and minus divided by two plus three, something.
So let me get this right. Long story short, your best Christmas present was Lego.
Yes. And it says on the box, James, 18 plus, and it's got 1,000 and something pieces. So,
Why is it
it's,
18 plus?
yeah, mate. I don't know. It's a very good question. How is it 18 plus? But it
Yeah.
said on the
What
box.
is it that makes it dangerous for your children? I'm interested to know.
uh, Answers on a postcard or on Twitter to James. In the meantime, I'm no closer to £50,000, James. I've gone backwards by a couple. This is like if we recorded my intro to every episode for this entire season of Planet Sky FF. One week I'll be saying I've gone up a couple of thousand. Next week I've gone back a couple of thousand. Next week I've gone up a couple of thousand. Next week I've gone back a couple of thousand. It's been the way for the entire season, and I've gone back a couple of thousand this week since we last recorded to 9,200. The only saving grace is that I haven't used any transfers. I've got 30 left. And unlike my FPL team, I've got two flags. One's an orange in Romero. We'll know the team tomorrow. So
I think you'll
let's wait
play,
and
by the
see.
way. That seems to be the word.
Yeah, I've left him. And the other's Shimikas, who didn't play,
Definitely
obviously,
won't
and
play.
won't be playing. So I will be moving Shimikas on tonight to Rodri, more than likely. Get a couple of games.
Okay.
If I had the money for Erling Haaland, of course, I'd go back there, but I don't. So
I
it will be
don't love
Rodri.
that as a move, buying Rodri.
He will get past Interior against Everton today
And he will if he
and
starts on
Sheffield
Saturday as
United.
well. And
So that's
listen, that
10
I
points.
get it. It pays your transfer, but I'd
What
almost
about if
rather,
Alvarez isn't available tonight? For whatever reason, they decide to rest him after their long
but I'd
travel.
almost rather you just went for something that could be like a random Hail Mary, like a Foden with 2 games or something like that. Of course, listen, we've had this discussion before. It's like it's always Rodri, but with 2 games to the Overhaul and Sheffield United at home on Saturday, I think I'd rather go into something that just could go off mad.
There are two teams that have two fixtures that I like the look of: Man City
Yeah,
and the other being Chelsea.
yeah,
So the other Hail Mary would be Nkunku if he starts tonight.
yeah.
I like that
I
more.
don't
I mean,
mind
it's
that
so
at all. I
close to
prefer
over.
that, I think.
I did look at an Arsenal attacker. I did look at the very boring sideways move to Lewis Dunk because it gives me, and I know Lewis Dunk is very boring, but it gives me a secondary captaincy cover for the last day, West Ham.
But he's
So that
also on
was
a
a
yellow
little bit.
card. He's won
Huh?
from the ban and he's still one
Yeah, so
yellow.
that's a bit of yeah. It's not ideal. So I mean, look, I've had very little returns. Dean Henderson was so close to making that transfer worthwhile with his save tier and clean sheet was in the cards, but it didn't work out. He's ended up with a 4 pointer, but that's fine. I've got two more fixtures of him now, which is cool. I've nothing from Saliba. Obviously, he's got one game to go. Nothing from Colwell, although he's got a game to go. Nothing from Shimikas, nothing from Romero. Salah's the only one that's returned me any points, 17 over the two, which has been okay. Bowen returned, nothing from Martinelli. Sonny, 16 points. Alvarez, nothing. Ollie Watkins, 6. 62 points at the moment as it stands. Not great at all.
65 for me. I dealt with my Shimicast problem on Sunday, Suj, and bought Thiago Silva for a whopping 4 points. Well under the thinking that he'd probably not play all three of Chelsea's remaining games, but also knowing that it'd give me really good extra captaincy cover for the 2 days left. And with Cole Palmer suspended tonight, currently the armband's on him for tonight if he's in the team. The fullback for me is Petrovic, so can't see me doing anything tonight. Obviously, if the robots suddenly, robots at Goodison Park and he's in the team, then I've still got him and he'll get the armband.
This is the one this is where it might get really
But
painful.
I think it's beginning to look like he won't play this week at all. So he's looking regretful that I sold Alvarez rather than Haaland at this stage. Yeah, not a great week for points. I'd captain Gross last Thursday against Palace for
the
nice assist. So the Gross versus Dunk debate last Thursday ended very much in a draw. Captain Watkins Friday night, as many would have done, so that didn't particularly matter. Saturday, I captain Sonny for the goal against Everton. Jared Bowen was, I think, for what I had, the standout choice. Had Salah's returns as well. Sunday, I captained Palmer despite buying Silva. I've been down that road so many times, and I didn't fancy Chelsea for a clean sheet at Molineux. And I wasn't overly surprised that they got beat either.
Petrovic had Cole that day.
Petrovic did rock out a little save tier. So he's been all right as he's come in with like the 13 points across the 2 games. So I'm pretty sure that I'm done here. Even almost.
But I mean, the thing is, if you get an injury now, you're not going to bother, are you?
Nah, the only one really. So I've got 2 covers for every day that's left. So what have we got left is 6 days. The only one I haven't got 2 cover for now is Liverpool Newcastle next Monday. I've just got Mo. But unless something happens to Mo, and to be honest, even if it did, I don't know.
It's a big gap now till that.
Do I really power into like
spaking, mate?
Do I power into a Trent or Van Dijk for 1 game? No. If something happens to Salah over the next week?
No. For me now, it's literally this is the last day I'll be making today/tomorrow, depending on whether your flavour is Arsenal or Tottenham. This is it now for me. I've got only Alvarez tonight. I've got backup is Levi Colwill. And then I've got a secondary backup in Dean Henderson, but I don't really consider them.
I love that. I've only got Alvarez. I've got 3 players and probably.
I don't consider them captaincy options. Them for me are just stick it on someone because I've got fuck all else. Like I expect nothing out of those guys, really, to be honest with you. So it'll be Alvarez for me tonight. For you, obviously, it'll be Haaland, but if Haaland's not there, you said Thiago, right?
With Palmer suspended, yeah, it'll be Thiago Silva captain tonight if he's in the team. If he's not, I just go with Petrovic, which at home to Palace, like it's not bad at all. I don't think. It's interesting, Suj, with this Shimicast problem. How much money you got available?
3.7. It gets me to 10.9, James.
Any position?
Any position. I'm in a nice 4-4-2.
Yeah, I don't mind Nkunku is like the Hail Mary punt. What about something like Richarlison?
To go, well, I've got Romero and Son already. So tonight, today is
so
okay.
Like if you got Nkunku and he was in the team, would you captain him?
I think I would. Because if I'm going Hail Mary, I may as well go Hail Mary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
It's a home fixture as well.
Arsenal player. Something like a Jesus.
No, well, look. So the thing is, tomorrow captaincy, I've got 2 defensive and 2 attacking. I've got Romero and Saliba, and I've got Martinelli and Sonny. I like Arsenal's fixture against West Ham a little more than yours, but I think it's really up in the air. It all depends on lineups and defensive assets that they've got available, you've got available. I believe both Romero and Saliba, Romero less slightly, but Saliba's definitely on for a passing tier.
Yeah.
So it might end up being the safe bet, but I also think West Ham can score at any given time, so I don't really fancy him for a clean sheet. He's a 5-pointer, really, whereas any attacking return from Martinelli or Sonny will push him above that. So
You still got
it,
Martinelli.
I've always had other problems to fix that I can't move him.
I'd be very tempted to captain him tomorrow, I think.
Hail Mary again.
Yeah, to be honest, a little bit. In a weird way, it's like most of us are kind of dead, right?
Yeah,
Now we kind of looked at today as being probably the last day really to make
move
moves.
today, tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah. Tomorrow, yeah, I understand. But I think for many, probably tonight, we're looking at am I going to buy Haaland back or not? Because I think like should he suddenly be Saturday morning, we think he's going to start against Sheffield United. Like, would you force him in for the one game?
no, absolutely not.
Not
Absolutely
when
not.
you've got the Chelsea alternatives at Luton and Watkins at
And
home to
Alvarez,
Burnley
more than likely.
and Alvarez. Yeah, sure.
Mm,
No, I don't think I would. Like, I get it. If he's suddenly in the team tonight, then I get that there's enough there to go, oh, okay, right. That's two captaincies, 4-for-1 over anyone who played yesterday. Sure, get him in. Like, I get it. At the moment, I don't think he's going to be. And I think if it was just Saturday, no, I'd let it go personally.
What's your thoughts on? I've always got Shimikat's problem. He's got no games left. I could move on Salah, who's only got one game left, which is Newcastle at home for 2 games at Haaland with captaincy in both. So that's effectively a 4-for-1.
But then what you captain next Monday?
It's a good question. No one. Yeah, I
So
couldn't do
you
that.
ain't doing that, mate.
No, no.
No, you can't. If you got Salah, that can't be your money make weight. It's got it.
Watkins, Burnley at home. It's captainable, isn't he?
It's not great.
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's not great.
I think I'm gonna have to just do the hide behind the sofa thing if the robot's available. But hopefully, like you said, he probably isn't, so we're good.
No, I mean, look, if Haaland was in the team tonight, would I get him in for Watkins if that was my only route? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so. Because you're going to catch him again Saturday as well, aren't you? If suddenly,
100%.
yeah, I think
100%.
therefore you'd probably just know that Watkins could outscore him with his one unbelievably over two captaincies. No, I'd probably get it done. Yeah, I think if he's in the team, you're right. He's fine. And with him, it's always the same. It's like if he's fit, he's in the team. I, I feel fairly certain that we'd know if he was going to play tonight by now. We are pre-recording the first thing Wednesday morning. There's been no information to suggest that he's even trained with the team, Such. So,
Yeah, I'm hopeful that my problem gets solved for me by Pep not picking him. Cool, cool. We've got some fixture announcements though, mind, James. Do we need to talk about that, or do you want to do that during the overhaul break? Is there anything that's cropped up that's kind of
It's a couple of single game days we can mention now just briefly. Obviously, it's all after overhaul stuff. What I want to do with the two podcasts before we kind of restart is do one pod next week purely on fixtures and one the following week purely on players and
Mhm.
selections. The fixtures aren't going to move next week. There's probably a few to be wary of from the February selection just to keep your thinking going at the moment. So in terms of single game days, we know the first 2 weekends already. We've now got Brentford, Manchester City as a Monday night. That can move back to a Saturday night if I ever have an FA Cup fourth round replay. But chances are, I'm going to guess the robot might be fit by then and he might be in our teams. We've got 2 Crystal Palace single game days. Cheers. Thanks, Sky. Love you. Lots. Chelsea at home, Monday the 12th, and Everton away, Monday the 19th. And they're both going to stick. They're in place. Friday the 23rd, Chelsea against Tottenham. The Metropolitan Police are absolutely delighted with this selection, although I'm sure they got the heads up and probably said yes. Now, the chances are that's not going to stay as a single game day, at least in February, because it'll obviously be postponed if Chelsea make the Carabao Cup final. Sunday 25th, definite single game day. Stop laughing at the back. Wolves versus Sheffield United. Bloody hell. And Monday 26th, also got West Ham against Brentford. That also could move back to Saturday night. I believe if either club have an FA Cup fifth round game, which chances are one of them will, I should imagine. You got in a cup, Bristol City at home, isn't it?
We have, yes.
Brentford got Wolves at home, and these little things, like when we look at after the FA Cup games, we can say, right, this is now a 70% chance this is going to stay. For example, we can be a little bit more sure, or maybe you both respectively got Arsenal and Man City away, and looks like it's going to stick, for example. So, yeah, the single game days don't look good. They look rougher than, as we'd said previously. December normally works out not too much of a problem. There are some ugly ones in there. Like the idea of having
there's obviously
yeah.
with the TV companies, there's a quota, right? Of they have to show all the teams a certain number of times, or everybody has to get shown. And then are they trying to get all of the, let's say, lower half games done because they expect a very interesting title race, and they're going to want to show a lot of Liverpool, Arsenal, City, that kind of stuff towards the end of the season?
No, I mean, if you look at Chelsea and Tottenham, who have obviously not been in Europe this year, they've had a lot of Friday and Monday games.
Mm.
Just by virtue of not being in Europe this year, basically. I mean, Crystal Palace 2 Mondays in a row. It's a bit grim, isn't it?
What's with something odd at West Ham as well. Sunday again, Sheffield
Yeah,
United,
2 o'clock.
followed by Sunday again, Manchester United, followed by Sunday again, Arsenal. It's a lot of Sundays all of a sudden again.
You got a Saturday game at Nottingham Forest, that won't move.
Exciting.
Yeah, we'll do the
Get my train
fixtures
books.
in more detail next week.
Perfect.
Is the plan. Yeah, there's a couple of caveats in there to West Ham, Brentford, Chelsea, Tottenham, and obviously Brentford, Man City. But yeah, the Wolves Sheffield United will stick Sunday 25th. And the reason that's the only one on a Sunday is Carabao Cup final will be afterwards. And those Crystal Palace single game days are going to stick as well.
Nice. This we've had obviously more than a game week's worth of fixtures to look at in terms of tier points and that kind of thing. James, do you want to cover off some of that? And then we can look at some of the questions we've had in on x.com.
Yeah, so it was obviously a disappointing night on Friday for Villa. Some big passing tiers knocking about. Clement Longley was in the hundreds, 105. Conson 95. Matty Cash 69 passes, a very rare one for him, and 4 tackles, one, and a suspension and an injury. Douglas Luiz and John McGinn, who were the midfield two, got tier 2 pass and tier 1 respectively. Vinicius Souza 7 tackles. I've said this might be one to watch out for a little bit more now, although actually he played a different role against Villa. They'd lined up in a 5-4-1 against them and then switched back to more of a 4-4-2 yesterday. There was some passing tiers for Manchester United players at West Ham. 2 centre-backs, Evans and Cambuala, making his debut. Tier 2 passing. Luke Shaw scraped into tier 1. Didn't play yesterday. Kobe Mino also tier 1 passing, tier 2 tackles. Jared Bowen, 3 shots on target to go with his goal. Suj. And Mohamed Kudus, 5 tackles, 1 to go with his goal as well. Obviously, he's going to disappear to AFCON. Otherwise, I think he might have been quite popular.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He does like to get his shots off. I'm not sure what his shot tier consistency is like, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's up there.
Fulham passing tier numbers
On
seem to be
just on Jared Bowen. There was a moment with Jared Bowen when he scored his goal. I was like, does that get him a shot tier just by virtue of the fact that he shot, Onana saved it, and then he shot again and it went in? And I was like, that's the perfect scenario where you get a shot tier off a single goal.
Yeah, that's what I said. The Michael Keane one against Burnley.
Yeah,
the 2 shots on target, 1 goal, but effectively becomes like a 9-point goal, basically.
Yeah. Although then I did remember he had the header in the first half that Onana saved, which had been on target, so that got him to tier 2 actually. Which those just bring a little smile to the face, I'd say.
Calvin Bassey and Tosin Adarabioyo said Fulham passing numbers on the rise, 90 and 103 respectively, against Burnley, which perhaps you wouldn't expect to be so big. Burnley admittedly were winning for all of the second half, basically. Tom Kearney 79 as well. James Trafford 5 saves, starting to look bit better in goal for Burnley recently, and I think his name will crop up in the next couple of weeks because of their single game day with Luton. Vitinho and Sander Berg in tackles. Andros Townsend, the only Luton player to hit a tier in their victory over Newcastle. That was a shot tier. which included the combined passes for Osho and Mengi, who played centre back for Luton, of 17 across the whole game, which wasn't as many as
Wow.
Kieran Trippier, but surprisingly not in the passing. 47 passes completed for Trips at Luton. There were at least 8 tackles to go with it. Fabian Schär, 66 passes completed into tier 1. Bruno Guimaraes to tier 2 with 81. The Forest Bournemouth game heavily skewed, obviously, because the early red card to Willy Bolly. Nico Williams with another tackle haul, 7 tackles won, sorry, but didn't start at Newcastle yesterday. Yates and Gibbs White also in tackles. Alanga and Chris Wood in shots. Anyone got Chris Woods? Anyone? Chris Wood in Sky? Anyone? No,
0.1% in the top 1K teams, but I think we've established that that's a rounding anomaly, isn't it?
someone in the top 1,000 does actually have Chris Wood, yeah?
Oh, okay.
Do you know
Well,
what? No, I thought you said he's got
no,
0.01%.
0.1.
So there's
It's
10
10.
people in the top 1,000.
I think it's got to be a rounding anomaly or
Do you know
something
what? I reckon they're people bought him today.
because it says 0.15% total. So you're telling
Yeah,
me
and
if
top
it's
one and in top 1K.
0.15%, 0.1 of them are in the top. So 2/3 of his owners are in the top 1K.
Yeah, I reckon that's dead team's gone. Oh my god, who's this guy? Let's buy him today. Semenyo and Solanke was shot tier 2. Senasai and Zabani in the passing as well. Senasai was tier 2. Dango Tara played left back, 7 tackles won. He did start in that position yesterday as well. Tottenham were fortuitous, as I said on Monday's pod. Was it Monday's pod, Tuesday's pod, whatever day's pod? I don't know what day it is.
Sunday's pod.
Sunday's pod. Thank you, Sid. Against Everton, Ben Davis, 82 passes completed. Nothing for Christian Romero. So he was on 41 at half time, which is exactly Davis's 82. So probably would have got a similar number. Emerson Royal, Kulusevski, both in tackles. 7 saves for Venom in goal. Guillermo Vicario. Nothing of note really, passing tiers or anything like that for Everton to speak of. Virgil van Dijk, the only Liverpool player to hit passing tier against Arsenal. Declan Rice was the only Arsenal player to hit passing tier in the same fixture. Kanate, Szoboszlai and Odegaard in tackles. And so to Joe Gomez, which is an interesting one. So Shimikas went off after 35 minutes, had won 3 tackles. Joe Gomez replaced him and won 6.
Oh, wow.
So Shimikas was probably onto something in that game as well, actually. Mo Salah, the only player to hit shots here in that fixture. From Wolves Chelsea, Gomez and Lamina in tackles. Christopher Nkunku in his half hour yesterday, Suj, or on Sunday even. God, I don't know the days at the moment. 3 shots on target. Thiago Silva just got to tier 2 passing, 70 passes completed. Disasai 76. Conor Gallagher's playing a deeper role at the moment, 65. And I think he'll pick up a couple more bits in these last 2, but probably playing too deep to think he could be a kind of Hail Mary punt, if you will.
7.8. I'd rather just.
I did see 1 or 2 Mario Lemina captaincies knocking about on Sunday. Shot tier 2 tackles and a goal. Nice return there. From yesterday's games, Trips did hit passing yesterday, but I don't suppose anyone was expecting a 3 goals conceded to Forest. 69 as well, only for tier 1. Fabian Schär, 70 passes completed. Matt Turner, even with saves, 5 of them. Chris Wood and Alanga with shots here. Montiel would come in the team, and Morgan Gibbs White with tackles. Alexander Isak, 5 shots on target. Calvin Bassey and Tom Kearney, tier 2 passing again at Bournemouth yesterday. João Paulinho, tier 1 tackles. And also a penalty given away, which was Bournemouth's first since black and white television, I believe.
Wow.
Not quite. From Sheffield United Luton yesterday, another tier 1 tackle for Vinicius Souza. 4 tackles completed. Cameron Archer was shots here. Nothing at all from Luton. Liverpool last night, Van Dijk 97, Quansah 98, and Trent 76, tier 2 passing. Also tackle tier for Trent as well. Wataru Endo got into tier 1 passing. There was shots here for Gakpo and Mo Salah. 8 saves for James Trafford and 6 tackles for Jordan Bayer. And finally, there was not a single passing tier in the Manchester United Aston Villa game last night. That's despite Longley, Carlos and Concert all being within 5 for Aston Villa. Most passes for Manchester United last night, 41 for Rafael Varane, Rashford, Garnacho, and McGinn all with shots here. Dallo and Dendonka tackles Emi Martinez with saves. That was a really, really strange game of football last night, which we'll talk about in more
Bizarre,
detail on Friday, Suj.
bizarre. But we slammed Manchester United, so we got to give them a bit of credit for coming back
Oh, still slam them.
and picking up the 3
I'm
points
sure
at
Manchester
least.
United fans will be, listen, you're 2-0 down, you win 3-2, you enjoy
You're
yourself, no
happy.
doubt. But
Yeah.
yeah, paper and cracks spring to mind, absolutely.
Yes.
And I think
Agreed. Agreed.
Villa,
But
did you watch the game?
only the highlights I saw afterwards. Villa were
Villa,
rubbish in second half, right?
Villa, yeah, took their foot off the
Capitulated.
pedal massively and couldn't recover it. Should we do captaincy quick for what's left?
I thought we did, but yes, let's just recap it all because most of the questions that we've had in on Twitter are about captaincy, to be honest with you, James. Tonight, I'm going to be going Alvarez. If Alvarez is not available, it's going to be Colwill. If Colwill's not available, it's going to be Dean Henderson.
Haaland, if there's a miracle, if not Silva,
Tomorrow,
if
like I
if not
said,
Petrovic.
I'll probably go Sonny or Martinelli tomorrow, and that's again dependent on the Brighton lineup. But I like the Hail Mary of Martinelli.
Yeah, I don't mind that for you actually. And I think, do you know what? If you're in doubt right now, it goes back to what we said at the start. Like Rodri's, of course, Rodri's brilliant in this game. But I don't know, for these next couple, I would rather just smash it on someone like Foden for such a short
Agreed.
period, I feel like.
Considering I'm chasing quite a bit as well now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously, yeah, narratives and where you're at. If you're sitting
Yeah.
15th overall,
Yeah,
then
Luke. Don't listen to James's advice for me.
listen,
Make
I
your
don't
own
think Luke's
choice.
going to be listening to me anyway. Is that where he is at the moment,
I don't
15th?
know. Nah, but he's going to be up there in the top 100 somewhere. I'll
Oh,
find out for
he's
you.
definitely better than that. Yeah, have a look see where our buddy is. I'll be going Sunny tomorrow night. I'm not bothered about the teams again. It's the what it could be. I'll be going Sunny.
Okie dokie. Saturday.
Haaland, hopefully. But I suspect it's probably going to be Ollie Watkins for me. At home to Burnley. I know he's had a quiet week, obviously, but even looking through the last couple, what did we say? Trafford has what 15 saves across the last two or so. So you still feel like chances are going to be there. So Watkins for me Saturday.
Nice. I've got a lot of options there. I've got Alvarez obviously is an option. We've got Watkins as an option. So it'll be one of those two. Not sure if I end up getting Nkunku. He's potentially an option if the robot was available tonight. Maybe he comes back into my team. So I couldn't tell you right now. If I had to pick from my existing 11, though, I'd still prefer Alvarez with the home fixture against Sheffield United, and then I'd go to Ollie Watkins as my second choice. On the Sunday, James, obviously you are at home to a much improved Bournemouth,
10th.
whereas Arsenal go away to a much fading away Fulham. So I
Yeah,
don't think
there
this
is.
is as obvious.
I mean,
I think I might go Saliba,
we mentioned it Sunday. Fulham were on a great run and they've gone two games and ain't scored, and Raul Jimenez has missed them both. Does feel really weird, but I think Willian's also been missing. So those two players might be quite key thinking about that one on Sunday. Obviously, you will see the team. Yeah, Sunny for me again, Sunday, mate.
Salah on the Monday.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, if I got there and he wasn't in the team, I'm just gonna have to stomach it. The one that really hit me yesterday was Liverpool defensive, but to transfer that in for one game as a captaincy like Van Dijk or Trent, nah, I think I would just suffer it. I'm 523rd, Suj, and I was at kickoff of Burnley Liverpool yesterday. I was about 330th. So
How many points have you got, James?
I'm pretty sure it was that Liverpool clean sheets done me the doing in last night. 1525.
Okay, so it's interesting. We'll come back to that in a second. Just the last captaincy, Jared Bowen for me.
Yes, same, yeah.
Same.
Ceiling over grosses or dunks for me, yeah, Jared Bowen.
So there's 125 points between us. I'm on 1400, and that's the equivalent of 9,000 places. There's a further 75 points between you and Luke, and that's only 500 plays. He's 49th as it stands at the moment. So it's almost like the gap to you and me is 125, and the gap to you and him is 75. I'm 200 points behind, let's say. So it's not quite halfway, but not too
What's
far
more
off.
likely, me to catch Luke or you to catch me?
How
Bearing in
many
mind Luke's
transfers you
skill
got?
set,
Yeah, how many transfers you got? 25?
27.
So I've got 30. I definitely think me to catch you is more likely than you to catch
I
Luke.
don't know what Luke's on. Luke might be on less than 27. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's going to be
I think
there or
he's probably
thereabouts.
about there. I
There or
think.
thereabouts.
Yeah.
Um, 125 versus 70. I think me to catch you is more likely because I think a lot of the changes and transfers you and Luke might make will be very similar in that period post overhaul, whereas I may go a little bit more Hail Mary and have the odd captaincy that really
Oh, you
kicks
don't
in.
know. Luke, listen, if Luke's 50th going into April, he'll finish like first or 500th, mate.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I don't know. It's just very interesting that the closer you get towards the top, the more bunched up it's getting. Actually, the more spread out it's getting, really. Right. Okie dokie. Questions, James, shall
Go.
we?
Yeah, go.
So they can. Oh, have I closed them? No, here they are. They fall into kind of two camps. And the majority of the questions that we've had in are captaincy over the last few days. So let's smash through all of those, although we've had a bit of discussion around them. And then there's a couple of questions that are a bit broader and more holistic around Sky. Also, we're close, Darren. If Haaland was on the bench today, would you still buy and not captain?
No, I'd
If
let
they
it
were
go.
winning, I don't think they'd bother risking it, would
Yeah,
they?
that's a great point as well. That yeah, if they were 2-0 up, maybe they just don't use him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think if he was a sub tonight, I'd let it go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I think from this stage now, he is buy if he starts tonight. Otherwise, let it go. That's
FPL
my take.
hindsight. All I've got tonight is Anderson. Should I suck it up at this stage or make a transfer? Also, I've got Sanchez hanging around. Is there any point replacing him at this point? And if so, who? That's very much a
Sanchez.
zero. Robert Sanchez, the keeper, obviously, as opposed to Alexis Sanchez, the former Arsenal striker.
Um, I mean, do you know what transfer count? Do you know what? I couldn't forgive myself the fact that Petrovic should have been bought 2 games ago. And yet
Mm.
that's probably the right answer is go, yeah, right. That gives you a better captaincy tonight. You got Luton away Saturday as well. He's arguably still worth it
Yeah, I
if
would
it's
say so
effective
as
three
well.
for
Again,
zero.
yeah, it depends. If you're
I
like
I
15
I wouldn't do
transfers,
it
maybe
though.
not.
I wouldn't do it. I'd be so pissed off that I didn't do it 2 games
Yeah,
ago.
but that's emotion, and this is a game of logic, James. 82. Who would you captain on Thursday between Saka and Saliba? Don't have any Spurs attacking, only defensive, so they're off the table for captaincy. Saka,
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's
Saka.
another one. Like, would you be shocked if Arsenal won 3 or 4-1, for example? So yeah,
No,
Saliba
no,
will hit
no.
tier
Like I
two
said, I always
passing.
back us to score because we've got that talent.
The
But
only way, the only way,
defensively, we could be in
the only
trouble.
way Saliba won't hit tier two passing, I would imagine, is if Arsenal have got the game won really early. And if they've got the game won really early, there's every chance
Seat
Saka's done the
possession.
business. So yeah, Saka for me.
Is Diaz the best buy for people with no captain if Haaland isn't in the team today? I can't get to Rodri. Well, that kind of says I'd almost consider looking elsewhere then.
So yeah, I'll probably more go Chelsea
Yeah, I do
because
like the
you could
upside of
get
an
Diaz
Nkunku.
tonight. It's a tough game. Sure, he'll hit tier two passing and stuff most likely, but it's a tough game. And then what? Sheffield United Saturday. You just go, oh yeah, have the day off, mate. Like could do, couldn't he?
Hmm.
So City, I think, I'd just leave.
Dangerous. Yeah, it's a
You'd be
dangerous
better
place to
off.
go.
They've got more options defensively than offensively, right? So in
Yep.
a weird way, you're almost better off going for like a Foden or a Grealish or just punting something that you wouldn't normally, rather than just going down that route with, say, a Diaz. If you specifically want a defensive player, I'd probably still go Chelsea. But
Up.
there is the same risk applies to their players. Like I think Silva plays tonight, but maybe doesn't play on Saturday. Obviously, if he doesn't play tonight, then we'll definitely play on Saturday. It feels like it could be like that. Colwell's probably the one that plays both, but it's probably not the passing tiers that come with it.
A few Haaland questions here. We can smash through these. Martin, if Haaland wasn't in the squad tomorrow, would you still be tempted to bring him on a Saturday? Probably
No,
not.
let go. There's enough good other options on Saturday.
Andy Mack, who would you sell? Would you sell Watkins over Solanke to get Haaland back?
No, I'd tell Solanke.
Okay.
That's just literally Watkins versus Burnley or Solanke versus Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Watkins, subject to what you've got Tottenham Arsenal coverage, Watkins is probably better captaincy coverage therefore as well.
Correct. Dios, who would you rather sell to bring Haaland back? So he's ranked Watkins, Darwin, Solanke. But then I think that's again Solanke, Watkins, Darwin, because it depends if you've got captaincy coverage in Salah, but say Salah got benched and you've got no coverage, then Darwin becomes particularly useful. Whereas you're more likely to
There's no chance Mo Salah gets benched against Newcastle next week. Absolutely none.
So then,
other than he's not 100%. He's not 100%.
Solanke, Darwin, Watkins. Yeah.
But there'll be no. It's his last game before AFCON, right? There's no way that he doesn't start the game. We're saving for what? Egypt? No, he's going to play. So it would only be if he has an injury. I do agree with you though, Suj. You know, training injuries and shit happen. Although he doesn't seem to get injured. But yeah, if I had Nunes, I'd probably on that basis, just on the off chance, be quite tempted to keep that rather than say Solanke.
Yeah,
but I would sell Nunes before I sold Watkins, I think.
Yeah. So reverse order of how you listed them. John Wayne, only have Palmer for captain on his band. If Haaland is out, would you bring in Alvarez or Nkunku or just skip and save transfers till Overhaul? No, I'd punt it. He's top 400 and he's got 30 transfers. Pretty decent.
Yeah.
On my transfer count and higher than your rank. I'd
sell something that played yesterday.
Yeah, and get an Nkunku or an Alvarez and give yourself that captaincy. Definitely. Go on, John. You can do it. Right. That's all the captaincy questions we've had. James, you talked there about how you would be beating yourself up about the Petrovic transfer had you not made it earlier. Martin says, I'm looking for some advice on how to approach the overhaul. No, sorry, this is not the question I was going to ask. The question was from Gigi Magpie. We'll come back to your question in a second, Martin. How do you get over the decisions you make throughout the season that you think are right, but turn out to be wrong? For example, I transferred Martinez in over Allison and not transferred in Gross for Huang, which has cost me around 30 to 40 points over the last week.
Let it go. Once the decision's made, the decision's made. And so you're not going to win every time.
The way I
if you can accept that mentally first and go like, not every transfer is going to work to your benefit.
Yeah, the way I see it, we're halfway through the season, right? If my second half of the season is the same as Luke's first half of the season, and his second half of the season same as my first half of the season, then we're net the same, right? I don't think you can. An overhaul is basically a reset button. You're playing two games. You're playing one half, and then you're playing the second half. And if you are scarred from the first half, it will mess up your second half. I wonder how differently we would all approach the second half of the season if the scoreboard was set to reset to 0 and the leaderboard was reset, and then you only knew where you were at the end. It'd be a completely different mindset because you'd not be able to pull on the impact of what you did in the first half of the season. And what you've done in the first half of the season has 0 impact on the second half by your transfer count. That's the only thing.
Not quite true. Because it will affect your psyche in terms of template picks or going rogue or whatever.
It will. But a good decision is a good decision at the end of the day, right? That's the thing. So I think we can get biased a little bit. So what James said there in his best Elsa impression was right. Let it go. Let it go. We'll come back to Martin's question then. Hi, guys. I'm looking for some advice on how to approach the overhaul and the remainder of the season. He's in a great position, currently ranked 836 with 36 transfers.
Nice.
It's winnable, mate. Do I play it safe and template until the real fixture games come around? Is it my first season? It's my first season playing, so any advice is welcome. We should swap teams, mate. No, I think coming out of overhaul, I know this is what used to happen when we used to have the first overhaul 4 weeks into the season, was being template is okay. Like what you don't want to do in that first period is lose ground to other people. Like being boring and maintaining for the first few weeks is okay. And because of the way that we've got this split game week, obviously fixture gains are going to be that little bit harder because they're so spread out, and you're going to need more coverage from more teams to cover off the captaincies without using any transfers. Like, there's no way you can come straight back into blanket anything really unless you're pretty rogue. So my thing is play it safe and template until the real fixture gains come round. The odd one or two bits of differential, sure, but play it safe because they will come around, and you're in a really good position, mine.
There's definitely a couple of blankets you can look at. There's kind of, I'd reference something Luke himself had said recently about maybe loading up on Arsenal to hold for Salah, Son. I should probably repeat just on that basis
So,
on
James, you're a fair point there. The one thing I didn't think about was then pre-booking transfers to get back the returning AFCON and Asia Cup players, which might allow that blanket a little bit easier. Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick point on Salah, Son, and we'll obviously cover it a little bit more. But I tell you what, we might be going without them longer than we think. I've mentioned this on a few of the FPL pods
FPL shows,
recently.
yeah.
Um, but something to bear in mind here. So they're likely to miss, let's say, match weeks 21, 24. So let's say their first four fixtures after overhaul. For Tottenham, let's say it's match week 24. Let's say he's back a week earlier than expected, right? It's Brighton at home on a Saturday. For Liverpool, it is Burnley at home, but it's also a Saturday. The following week, Liverpool go to Brentford Saturday. Tottenham play Wolves at home Saturday. There's no Friday game. And you say, well, but they're that good, I'll just buy them back anyway. Yeah, of course you can. But because the Carabao Cup final the following weekend, they might have no game the following week. And so therefore it might be a case of coming back like in March. It could be. It could be that the right choice is to leave them both until March. That's a long time then. It's 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, for Liverpool, we've obviously got the likes of Trent that are clearly captainable as well. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. Romero is obviously clearly captainable
Trent,
for
I
Spurs and
think
stuff.
we'll talk about him more in the next couple of weeks. He's going to be, I think, the most popular Liverpool selection, I think, at the moment. I'd be surprised if he's not.
Well, you kind of sort of answered Full On Frenzy's question. We're not going to answer it because we're going to do it in a couple of weeks. He says, broader question, but which players are you most excited to bring into your team during the overhaul that you don't currently own? Actually, to be fair, that is a fair question that we don't currently own. I mean, Rodri. Give me some of that Rodri and Trent, I think. I haven't got any Liverpool defensive coverage. I want to get both of those guys into my team.
Yeah, it's going to be like Eze or Elise or Neto or Huang.
Or Wilf Zaha is going to make a loan move return to the Premier League for Sheffield
Uh,
United, and we're all
imagine
going to
that would be
buy
great,
him.
wouldn't it?
Come on. Nah, we're not
To
having
be
that.
fair, on those Palace single game days, I mean, the way it works anyway, you won't have to start with one on overhaul. You can come back to it for the two Monday night games, and it might be to just go sod this. I don't want none of it. Yeah, I think Rodri's a good shout, Serge. I think Trent is the one
I obviously don't own
that's hurt
Haaland
me a
now, so
little.
I could
I've
just say
not had
Haaland's.
over this sort of period last year, Newcastle killed me defensively. That's not happened this time, despite having none of it. And I did have Pope, and I've not really done anything since obviously Pope got injured. And he was doing fine before that. But yeah, Trent is hurting me at the moment. I don't know. I will have a look at something like Solanke and just going, right, should I just go like a Solanke, Watkins, Haaland, longer term and play around with the other little bits moving forward? It's like most goals in the Premier League, non-penalty now, I think. I saw a
Wow.
stat. It's madness.
Cool. James, that's a wrap for all of the questions we've had in on X. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. And like I said, make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to the podcast because that's how you'll get notified whenever anything new does go out, which will be fixtures next week, players the week after, overhaul wrapped. If you do enjoy playing Sky Fantasy Football, you might want to consider joining our Patreon, but you may as well wait till the 1st of Jan now, right?
It doesn't matter anymore, Suj. People can join whenever they
Cool.
want.
Join whenever you want. Then you'll get James's Excel spreadsheet, which is a
If you
fixture
join on the
planning
27th this month, you get charged on the 27th next month. So
every month. Lovely. They've mixed it up on Patreon. You'll get access to James's fixture planning spreadsheet and our Slack community where there's some very engaged Sky Fantasy Football managers that will help you whenever you've got any questions. It's pretty lively on match days as well. But other than that, thank you for joining us during this Christmas break. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Ciao for now.
thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend and Happy New Year. Cue music, please, man child.